Okay. Kia ora koutou, and ngā mihi nui kia bi moto kōrero.
Thanks, Sarah.
He uri aho no tāwhiti, kamihio ki te whenua me ona uri, kamihio ki te iwi o te rohi kia naitahu, no o te poti me ngā rangi aho, ko Aotearoa tōku kāinga nainei, ko Sarah tōku ingoa. So, hi everyone, I'm Sarah and I am involved in a new initiative in Aotearoa, which I'm going to talk to you about, which is the WeShare Solar pilot program, with the aim to spark a Rangatahi curiosity in solutions for climate action. So, firstly, the problems, which I'm sure I don't need to tell many people here about. We've heard enough about it. We see it in the news. It's increasingly becoming more and more of an issue about the climate and nature crisis that we're having, where there is still time to change. And a second problem that I'm sure we're also aware of is the access to reliable electricity, where globally there are 860 million people who don't have this access to reliable electricity, let alone clean electricity. And I'm sure we know many of the problems that we see in Aotearoa around households suffering from fuel poverty and difficult decisions that people have to make on a day-to-day basis around heating or eating. So rather than focusing on the doom and gloom, what can we do about this? And one of the solutions is to look to the emerging solar industry. So this is emerging globally. It's still relatively small in Aotearoa, but there is a lot of change, and especially this year. And we're seeing more and more interest and so many jobs in the future that will be part of this industry. But what can we do to try and inspire Rangatahi to see this and other renewable energy as a solution? And how do we do this to give them the opportunities and the skills that they need to spark this curiosity? So I'd love to introduce the WeShare Solar program that our charity Kia Kotahi Ako is piloting in Aotearoa. So it's a solutionary science program that has been running in the US for about 8 years, with lots of evidence behind it. And it focuses on climate change, solar power, with lots of linked to NCA and other curriculum, focus on electricity and action. And so students taking their knowledge and then putting it into action. But rather than me telling you about the program, I'm going to jump to the students and teachers at Haeata Community Campus in Aotearoa, who will do a much better job than me, and you can hear from them in the first pilot. So let's just do a quick change. Check this works. There we go.
Thinking about other schools, it's such an incredible program. I'd love to see other schools involved in it. I've been teaching for 20 years and I don't think I've ever seen such a high level of student engagement. So there's just so many benefits in terms of the practical knowledge, the climate change awareness, teaching them for careers, getting them to do the group work, because quite often it is really difficult to get them to all participate. But looking around the room today, I think every child has been participating, giving them the literacy support. Just a fantastic program. I'd recommend it to anyone, and we're so lucky to have been able to bring this in here. I'm so grateful.
Yes, and I must admit I'm the same. I've been teaching 20 odd years, and it's a program that just seems to tick all the boxes. It's enabling the students, because of what you were saying about climate change. It's a tough one to teach, because it is quite negative, and the kids can walk away feeling quite helpless. But by giving them something like this, they're able to go, well, actually it's not all doom and gloom.
We've been learning about solar and solar panels and what they can do to help our world.
It was pretty interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've never discovered some of these parts that have been used to actually make this. I think for companies, we could suggest these ideas that could help many homes and families that struggle with terrible technology or Wi-Fi or whatever power resources they use.
It's good that we're finding solutions and doing it throughout schools with younger people.
Also, we do learn about what can cause these climate change side effects, and so we hope in the future that we can make a better change for climate change and help all the lives that are on the planet Earth. So thanks to our teacher, we've discovered many things from learning about this.
Yeah.
This is a real world thing. It's not something that's been contrived for the classroom.
And I see that this is fantastic, maybe in opening their minds to some of the trades or engineering or being an electrician. I'd love to see them be able to think that these are viable career options for them.
Just to encourage them to think about these sorts of what are normally perceived as male jobs, realising that they are actually available to them, and the girls seem to be just as engaged as the boys in the group.
Yep.
And I mean, with something like solar, it's an emerging industry here in New Zealand, and maybe we're developing the future solar engineers and solar workers.
Woo! Adapted mind math!
So, I'll just switch back. Hopefully that was a good insight into what the students thought and the overview of the programme. And you can hear it, they can tell it how it is, and what they thought of it. And that's something we were really excited by with the first pilot, was that all the students that we ran it with in Year 9 and 10 science class either liked or loved it. So that was a great reinforcement. And I'm a geography teacher by background, and we had a moment where every single student in the class was engaged in the hands-on learning, and it was one of those goosebump teacher moments, and the science teacher kept beckoning more and more teachers into the class to come and say, look, come and see what's happening. So I think at that moment, that's when I realized that there's something in this hands-on approach that we can show the optimism and solutions to the students rather than presenting the doom and gloom. So and as I mentioned, the sort of knowledge to action piece, the students are now writing a proposal for their board to be able to put solar on their schools. We also have a second pilot now, in theory, up and running at Homai Primary in Tamaki Makaurau. It was 2 weeks in before lockdown happened, and the students were emailing their teacher straight away saying, when's the solar program going to be starting again? So, watch this space, but we're really excited by how these pilots are going and the impact that we're seeing on the students. But we're very much in testing phase, and we'd love to hear from anyone who's interested to learn more. So we're planning some more pilots in term 4. We're hopefully going to be piloting with Aotearoa and linking into the Climate Action Campus. But we're looking at as many different contexts as possible so we can really refine the programme and also look at how we adapt it to Te Ao Māori and incorporate Mātauranga Māori throughout the programme. And we'd also love to see how we can add value to other environmental education programmes that are out there and link up as much as possible and add value with the hands-on learning part of it. And we would obviously love to hear from anyone who is interested in a potential partnership around funding. We're having some great conversations with corporates and energy and solar companies. So yeah, always happy to chat to more people in that area. And there are my contact details. So yeah, they were my contact details. So feel free to reach out with any questions. Kia ora koutou.